Alright, let's begin. So for this week's assignment, we had to do the centipede head, as well as the scorpion, and if time permitted, the spider. So here we have our centipede. It will move in one direction until it either comes in contact with a mushroom or it reaches the edge of the screen, at which case it will turn around. So as you can see, once it reaches this mushroom, it will turn around and keep going down. And while that's moving back up, I'll show the other things. We have the scorpion, which when it comes in contact with a mushroom, it will poison it. So if I attack it with my blaster, it dies. The optional thing we had this week was the spider, which will move up and down randomly until it decides to move horizontally. And also when it comes in contact with mushrooms, it destroys them. If I walk into it, then I die. And if I were to shoot it, it also dies. If I were to collide with the centipede, I die. And if I fire a bullet at it, it will also die. So as for how we actually coded it, for the scorpion, we had to pick a random row for it to spawn on, and then it would move in a direction. And if should it be on the opposite way, we also invert its scale so that it's not walking backwards. If it comes in contact with a mushroom, then we poison it, and if it comes in contact with a bullet, they destroy each other. For the centipede head, it moves horizontally until we either end up reaching a mushroom or we end up going to, or the next position is so that it will fall off the grid. We check this once every single cell in the grid. If any of these conditions are met, we set it to a falling state and we flip its direction so it can face the opposite direction. While falling, instead of changing the x value, we change the y value so it moves only downwards. And then we also have it rotating based off of a counter that we put in. The other thing in our incoming code section is if we are at the bottom of the screen, then we want it to start moving upwards. So we change the fall direction. The other time we change the fall direction is if the value is already negative and we've reached the top of the play space. So the centipede has made it all the way to the bottom of the screen. It's turned around and has now made it all the way to the top of the player's play space. So then we'll flip to go back down again. For the spider, I used two different alarms to determine its movement. By default, it always moves up. It always moves up vertically, and that's it. For horizontal distance, we have a random alarm here to determine whether or not it needs to stop moving horizontally or continue moving in whichever horizontal direction it was already going. This is all determined by a random alarm. And the other alarm we had was for the vertical distance, where when this timer runs out, it will flip its vertical direction. The other time we flip the vertical direction is if it reaches the boundaries of its mobility space. So if it reaches its highest row, or if it reaches the bottom of the screen, then we end up flipping its vertical direction automatically. And that's it.